Welcome everyone again to the channel. This is Decoding with Cody, and I just want to start out by saying that my mind was absolutely blown. So I was putting together a decode for you guys about a plane crash on this upcoming Friday the 13th, January 13th. This morning I was putting in the work and I was making this decode for you. I literally finished the decode about this possible plane crash, and I get on Twitter, just happened to get on Twitter, which I don't always do in the morning, and I see this. Start your year with Gerard Butler kicking ass. See plane movie only in theaters January 13th. There's literally a movie coming out January 13th about a plane crash. I was just making, again guys, I'm not lying to you when I say that I was just making a decode about this before I found this movie. The crash was only the beginning. Survive together or die alone. Now, is this symbolic, guys? Is there actually going to be a plane crash, or is there just going to be a crash of the monetary system? Is it going to be a crash of the electrical power grid? What is this crash? Because, again, it doesn't have to be a plane crash. The plane crash can be symbolic. But all I know is that this crash was only the beginnings. This is exactly the movie narrative that I was decoding, guys. And it's got Gerard Butler in it, which again, he's played in movies like White House Down, okay? And the decode I was going to make was about Biden and Air Force One going down as the most likely option. But anyways, I just wanted to start the video with the information that I found out after the fact, because it confirms exactly what this decode is going to be about. So stick around and see exactly how I'm on the trail. So, the way I started this is because I started to look back at January 13th in history, because again, the date I'm looking at is January 13th, which is a Friday, this upcoming month, okay? And I noticed something, and I'd already been kind of on something with Biden and a plane crash before, so I noticed something, that there was an Air Florida Flight 90 that crashed January 13th, 1982. And what's interesting about this, guys, is that this Air Florida crash happened. Well, let's start with the basics, all right? So I want you guys to notice that the plane was sold to Air Florida in 1980. This is the same year that the movie Friday the 13th came out. And again, the January 13th coming up is a Friday the 13th, okay? So I'm going to connect this Friday the 13th movie with this airplane crash and with this upcoming Friday the 13th. So this plane crashed into a bridge, the 14th Street Bridge, and it went into the Potomac River, okay? And it was flown by Larry M. Wheaton. Notice his middle initial is M, which is the 13th letter. Again, this is all about the 13th. Also notice that he flew, before the crash, 2,322 hours. So let's talk about that, guys. First of all, this happened on January 13th. The crash was into the 14th Street Bridge, which equals 65. It fell into the Potomac River, which equals 65. And it was piloted by Larry M. Wheaton, which equals 65. Again, ask yourselves, how can that be possible that the bridge it crashed into, the river it fell in, and the pilot that was flying it all equals 65? And in fact, they almost have a two-cipher match in the reverse reduction. With that being said, the pilot had, at the time of the crash, 2,322 hours of flight time. And notice that the Skull and Bones, the Brotherhood of Death, the Yale University Secret Society, their number's 322, and the pilot has 2,322 hours at the time of the crash. Again, I just showed you his name is a direct match with the river and the bridge that he fell into. And again, Skull and Bones, guys, equals 41. So from this plane crash in 1982 to this Friday the 13th is exactly 41 years, and 41 is the 13th prime, and remember, both of these crashes happened on January 13th. Now, Skull and Bones is the Yale University, is where it was founded. Skull and Bones, the secret society, was founded at Yale. Remember, George W. Bush, the president during 9/11, was a Skull and Bones member, so are a lot of presidents. But notice that the founding date of Yale University is October 9th, 1701, okay? And this year is a very special year for Yale and Skull and Bones because Yale is going to turn 322. Remember, I just told you the number of Skull and Bones is 322, and the flight driver for this flight had 2322 hours. And what's interesting is from the founding date of Yale University, where Skull and Bones is at, this year on October 9th, it's going to be the 322nd anniversary. And again, guys, October 9th, the day that Yale was founded, is the 83rd day, 83 days left in the year. I just showed you that the pilot had 2322 hours. He had about 8,300 total flights, hours. You see what I mean, guys? See the 83 there? Just like, so it has not only the Skull and Bones 322 coded, but it also has the day that Yale University was founded, the day leaving 83 days left in the year, and he had 8,300 total flight hours, okay? And again, it's 322 years on this October 9th. But what about before this October 9th? How many days before this 322 anniversary is Friday the 13th this year? Well, it's 38 weeks and 3 days, which again goes back to the 83rd day of the year that Yale University was founded, 83 days left in the year. And again, murder and death equal 8338. So just ask yourselves again. And again, guys, it's so clear. It's 41 years after the original crash. Skull and Bones equals 41. 41 is the 13th prime. This plane crash happened on the 13th. I just told you about the plane movie that's coming out on the 13th about a plane crash. You see what I mean? So again, let's just dive even more to see that this is a scripted crash. So if you type out the word Air Florida Flight 90, which was the name of it, okay, you have to type out the number 90. You're going to get 242, 125, and 352. Well, the day that the plane crashed, January 13th, leaves 352 days left in the year, just like Air Florida Flight 90 equals 352. Now, airplane crash equals 125, just like Air Florida Flight 90 equals 125. And the day that this plane crashed, January 13th, is 242, just like Air Florida Flight 90. Do you see what I mean, guys? Every number in the name of Air Florida Flight 90 ties to the day that it crashed and airplane crash itself. Now, Air Florida Flight 90, again, equals 125, just like airplane crash equals 125. And just for another add-in here, guys, Joseph R. Biden equals 125. I did a decode about that number a few months back. But what's important about this number and its connection? Now, what I'm going to do now, guys, is tie this flight crash to the Friday the 13th movie. Because remember, I told you guys that this plane that crashed on January 13, 1982 was sold to this company in 1980. That's the same year the first Friday the 13th movie came out. Okay? Air Florida Flight 90 equals 125. Okay? Friday the 13th came out in 1980, the first movie. And from the day that came out, Friday, it came out on a Friday, May 9th, 1980, to the flight crash that equals 125, it's 1 year, 250 days. You drop the zero in numerology, 125. Okay? From the release of Friday the 13th to the airplane crash. And again, airplane crash equals 125. The star of that movie, Friday the 13th, her name was Betsy Palmer. She played Pamela Voorhees, who is the mother of Jason Voorhees, the killer. But the first movie of Friday the 13th is really all about Pamela Voorhees. Okay? She died on May 29th, the same day that in history that JFK was born. And remember, he's a president that died in office, just like Biden, I think, is next. And again, Biden's Catholic. Biden's the second Catholic president after JFK. We just had the Catholic Pope die. His funeral's today. And again, more news. Biden releases most JFK assassination records, but withholds thousands. Notice that Biden released 13,000. Again, guys, the 13 JFK records. And that was on December 15th. So here's where it gets crazy, guys. I told you that Pamela Voorhees, or Betsy Palmer, who played Pamela Voorhees in the Friday the 13th movie, she died on May 29th. Again, that was the same day that in history that JFK was born. But that was also one day before Joe Biden's son, Joseph Robinette Beau Biden III, died. Okay? So I want you to ask yourselves, she literally died one day. She died May 29th, 2015. Beau Biden died the next day. Okay? And Beau Biden, again, has almost the exact same name as his father, except for he's the third. And again, what are the chances that this woman who plays the main villain in Friday the 13th dies one day before Joe Biden's son? And what's crazy about that, guys, is she died on a Friday. Okay? Just like the movie she starred in, Friday the 13th, came out on a Friday. And from Friday, May 29th, the day that Betsy Palmer, who played Pamela Voorhees in the Friday the 13th movie, died, to Friday, January the 13th, 2023, is 398 weeks. I told you the next day after she died, Joseph Robinette Biden III died. He equals 398. It's 398 weeks from when they both died. Airplane crash equals 398. Rest in peace equals 398. And just to bring it all together and tie Pamela Voorhees, the main character of Friday the 13th, in with the plane crash of Friday the 13th, or the 13th of January 1982 that I started talking about in this video, notice that Pamela Voorhees equals 223, just like we're in the year 2023, and the 14th Street Bridge, the plane that Air Florida Flight 90 crashed into, equals 223. Also notice that the river it fell into is 65 and 70 like Pamela Voorhees, and the pilot who was driving it, 65 and 70. So, again, ask yourselves, guys, again, all this information that I just showed you, I found out before I knew that there was a movie coming out on January 13th called Plane, about a plane crash. So I hope you guys understood it. Thank you for watching. Many blessings to you all. I'll see you in the next video.